Shalom, Israel. Giving honor and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach.
We got next.
Shalom, Israel. Giving honor and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, for the blessing and reading and the understanding to His holy and righteous words. I want to wish all the real 12 tribes of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, Happy New Year, right? Happy New Year, man. It's the beginning of the year. So we know this Sabbath is a new moon also, who celebrates, these feast days. We celebrate the new moons, all right? And tonight is a double Sabbath, right? Double Sabbath started yesterday at sundown into tonight sundown, which leads right over into another Sabbath, which is why we call it a double Sabbath, right? All right, so I wanted to do a quick crash course of keeping the Passover, right? And how do we celebrate it? So let me tell you a quick little story, right? Just a quick one. I started the other day doing a lesson, right? And I'm getting it in and I'm burning it up for the Lord, right? And I did about an hour and some minutes of just fire for the Lord, right? Now let me tell you how the Lord, when He want to send you a message, what He does. And we got to learn how to read these signs of how the Lord deals with us, right? So I did all of that, right? Gets ready. This new program I'm dealing with and playing around with it and trying to learn it. I records this thing for almost an hour and 10 minutes. And to find out it only recorded about a minute worth. It only recorded a minute and 13 seconds worth of it. Because when I was trying it out, I didn't know this window only has a certain stretch that you can record. So instead of taking it and doing it through another program and sending it over like I've been doing it, which now I know. But guess what? That wasn't even the case. All right, that wasn't even the point. The point is the Lord had a different message He wanted me to get out, right? Because for the past week or so, and a couple of days, because if anybody that follow me on my Instagram or my Facebook, know that I upload things, just to enlighten our people. Like yesterday I was practicing on cooking unleavened bread, right? Cooking my little unleavened cakes. And so every night or every morning I wake up, I get messages of people still want to learn how to do the Passover, right? And there's a lot of brothers that got Passover videos out. So I feel like, hey, I got to get one out. And a lot of people want to know a lot of bases that we don't touch on videos. People hits our inbox and they're telling me that a lot of you brothers, man, is not responding. All right, I get it. You got a lot of followers. You got a lot of people to answer. But the Lord said we should be apt to teach. All right, so we should be always ready to have an answer. And I'm getting a lot of people hitting my inbox lately saying that a lot of other brothers who are well-known brothers is not answering their inboxes. And now they're left astray. I'm not going to lead you astray. I get people that done hit me up at 2 in the morning. Guess what? I get up. And, I get people got to get up and go to work and all that, right? But make some type of time. Just make a quick crash course. We got to learn to make things plain upon tables, right? So let's just make it plain. Look, okay, brother, it's late. I get to you at this and such date. But just don't leave a person out there hungry. You got to remember something. Each person that follows you is one of your flock, whether you believe it or not. They're following you and you're feeding them food, and that's your flock. And you have to feed your sheep. If you don't feed them, you're leaving them hungry. All right? I can't stress that enough. All right, so that was the message that the Lord was telling me to get out. So that lesson that I did, He didn't let it go through. All right? And I had to read that sign, and I got it, woke up this morning, and there's a sister in my inbox, and God bless their souls, man. They looking and they wanting to learn. So now I know, I said, Lord, I got it. I got what you were sending me, and I know what I got to do. So here's the crash course, the best way the Lord, will let me explain it, which I want to make it plain upon tables. I don't want to be the super deep brother. We've been deep brothers all our lives, and it got us nowhere. Just knowing how to sin in a deep manner, right? So I want to make things plain upon tables, right? So let's start off by going to Exodus. We're going to explain the Passover, right? And we're going to make it as plain as possible. All right, so let's go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And we're going to we're going to go through little pieces, bits and pieces through this. I'm not going to read the whole chapter in its entirety. That's for you to go back and do after the lesson, right? I'm just going to pull out the major points in here, and I'm going to break them down for you, right? And we're going to explain it in its entirety, all right? So pull out your 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha, or you can pull it up out of your Google Play Store or your Apple Store or whichever store you have or whatever phone you have, right? And download the app, the Bible app, the KJVA, King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha, 1611. I can't stress that enough. All right, so let's get it. Okay, so this is Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1. You with me? All right, let's go. Let's get it. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. All right, so you already see what month you're going to be in when you get ready to do the Passover. Now, how do we know it's the first month? All right, now we're finna get into this thing, right? So let's find out what the first month is. And how do we figure out that we're in the beginning of months, right? All right, let's go to Sirach. Let's go to the book of Sirach in your Apocrypha, chapter 43 and verse 5. All right, and we're going to read this down. Are you there? All right, let's get it. Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment it runneth hastily. So already the Lord is setting the scenario. Ezra's laying it out. Everything the Lord commanded, the sun, moon, stars, all that. He commanded them, and they do what he commands. All right. Verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season. What is the moon for? For a declaration of times and a sign of the world. You see what the moon is for? A declaration of times and a sign of the world. All right, reading on. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. You see what the moon is? It's for the sign of feasts. So that's another reason why we keep our eyes, not moon worship. I'm not telling you to worship the moon. The moon and the sun is like a clock. All right. Once you learn, when you read in this book, you'll learn how to use the moon to how the Lord wanted us to use it. It's a clock. It's for signs to let you know what part of the month you in and everything. So I'm gonna keep reading though. Verse 8. The month is called after her name. Stop. So now you know what the name month means. Month is just another word of moon. You ever say, okay, this is the first of the month. This is the third of the month. What you're really saying is this is the first of the moon. This is the third of the moon. This is the 15th of the moon. Month is named after moon. All right? All right, let's keep going. Increasing wonderfully in her changing. You see that? Being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. Now that second part right there, I'm going to pull out the first part. It says increasing wonderfully in her changing. That means she gets brighter. So when she becomes a new moon, she becomes bright, not dark. See, and this is the reason why a lot of people are scared to touch on this, because this is the time of the year. And all praise is still because we're practicing the righteous acts. Nobody is going to get this thing 100% right because we're on the land of our captors. So we have to remember that there's other camps in other places and other people in Israelites that are celebrating Passover right now. And this is the beginning of the month. But all praise is still. They're practicing the righteous act the best of their knowledge. They think that the moon dark. I don't get where they feel like that makes sense, that the new moon is dark, but I'm not shooting fire at them. Still all praises to the Most High. May the Lord get the increase because they're still doing it. That's what I'm focused on. We need to focus on the holy. Not, oh, they believe in this, so now I can't stand them. No, brother, listen. The fact of the matter is, the big thing is we're celebrating the Lord again. Focus on that. Focus on the holy, okay? And we're trying. So we're doing, and there's some people that don't believe in what I'm doing because I want to celebrate what I read. It says increasing wonderfully in her perfection, man. It says increasing wonderfully in her changing. That means being an instrument. Now that second part I don't want to read it because we want to it's a little over above a lot of other people pay grade. But the people that's been following me for a while know what this means. It says an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. The moon is also an army base for the chariots and the angels. But that's a little above some people pay grade right now because they're babes in the spirit. So we're gonna make this basic. All right. Let's just stick to the Passover. All right. So we're gonna go back. Right. So now let's go back. We're gonna go back to Exodus chapter 12 and verse 7. Yeah. Let's go back to Exodus chapter 12 and verse 7. All right. Now we finna get into the meat of it, right? Let's get into the meat of this, the meat and potatoes of it. All right. So, no, let's go to, we're going to keep reading on down some, right? We're going to go to about, let's start at 3. Let's go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 3. All right. No, actually, no, take that back. Let's go to 6. Let's go to 6. Yeah, let's go to 6. All right, so let's go to 6. We want to read that. All right. Yeah, okay. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day, and the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. So the reason why I skipped the other parts is because we're talking about the beginning of the month, which is where we at now. So 14 days after that is going to be the Passover. So that's why 14 days after that is going to be around the 20th, right? So how we celebrate is we're going to get to the 19th. Around sundown of the 19th is going into the 20th. There goes the Passover, right? So that's how we celebrate it. So then, by the time you get to the 20th, which is going to be on the 19th at even, then you bring it in, okay, the Passover. Because you want to be in the house, because I'm going to explain most of this in detail. You're going to want to be in the house and your doors locked and all that stuff because this is a serious holiday that we're practicing, right? It's a very serious holiday that we're practicing, people. Okay? So, actually, let me take that back. You celebrate it on the 20th at sundown, not the 19th, the 20th at sundown. All right? Salakia for me bringing that out like that. It's on the 20th at sundown. Okay? And what you're going to do, I'm going to keep reading, and I'm going to explain it as I read it, right? So let's explain it. The reason why I got to the 6 and it says shall kill it at evening is because verse 3 down to 6 explains about us getting our own land because back then, we were still owning a good, part of the land, of cattle. You know what I'm saying? We was in captivity in Egypt, but at that time, we had access to cattle, so we had access to lambs and stuff like that. But this hard bondage, we ain't got access to nothing but the grocery store. So that's why it says practice the righteous acts. We're not going to be able to get our own land. Some now here, all praise to the Most High, they got their own little land. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some brothers that actually went and killed their own lamb and everything, man. So, but some don't have access to that. So what you do, the Lord knows your condition. He knows what you're in. All right? He put you there. So that's why I read it down to 6 because I just wanted to, follow some part of it because it goes into the 14th day. All right. So now we're going to skip down to 7. All right? Because this is another trait that some can do if you can. If you can't, don't go doing this one right here. All right? And they shall take the blood of it, the blood, and strike it upon the two side posts, and on the upper doorposts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. Now, that was a custom that they had to do in Egypt. They took the blood of that lamb and they put it on the doorposts, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a reason for that. It was a symbolic reason for that. All right, but we're going to get more into it. We're going to come back to that. All right? And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs. They shall eat it, right? Now it's going to explain how you do this lamb, okay? Eat of it. It says, eat not of it raw nor sodden at all with water. Sodden means to boil. So you can't boil this. You can't make no lamb stew. You can't have it medium rare. No. Okay? So, but watch this. But roast with fire, with his head and his legs, and the the prudence thereof. Okay? The Puritans thereof. Okay, so that part, in case you had the whole lamb. So that's why it explains about the head and the legs and all that, right? But if you got like lamb chops or lamb breasts, lamb ribs, anything like that, as long as it's the part of the lamb. All right, so we're going to read on. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. So this is not like an all-you-can-eat buffet. This is a very serious holy day. And what you do is you cook just enough for your family. All right? You cook just enough of this lamb for your family. You don't want to make a whole bunch of leftover. You want to make exactly what fills each person up. And the Lord said, if you got anything left over, put that thing back on the grill. Because this thing you want to grill. You want to put roast this on fire means grilling it. All right? Go outside, turn on your grill. If you got a gas grill, whatever it is, grill it. All right, and some people ain't got access to a grill. Some people have apartments. The Lord knows your condition. That's why he also put in there, roast it. How do you roast things? Put it in the oven then, all right? Put it in the oven. Some don't have access, to grills, all right? But if you can, the best of your might, if you can, put it on the grill. Go to a park that's close by your house or something, grill it on a park grill or something, all right? But just try to do this as holy as possible, all right? If you can't, the Lord understands your situation. All right. All right, so here we go. Let me find my place. Until the morning, and ye shall burn with fire. All right, here we go. It's verse 11. And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. Now, this is the serious of this. You can't sit at home eating this in your snuggies, in your pajamas, laid back watching football or the game, and you just chilling in the cut. No, this is a heavy holy day. All right, this is a serious day, and it represents how the Lord, with a stretched forth mighty arm, man, got us out of Egypt. And the reason why he said, with your clothes on, because when they was getting ready to come up out of Egypt, they wasn't sitting at home comfortable. Moses was sitting there letting the people know, okay, we might have to run up out of here. Okay, the Lord finna do a move, and we might have to get out of here, and we might have to fight our way out. They didn't know. And that's why I love this one, because it's so serious. They didn't know at that time. That was a scary moment in their lives. That they didn't know what the Lord, for one, our Father is scary. You don't know what he gonna do, and when he say go this way, you gotta run and go that way, or you gonna die immediately. So they're having this Passover in their houses with the blood on their doors, so the angel of death, which is Christ, could pass over them, because the Lord had made war at this moment. That's why this represents the time that's going to come again. It's finna get scary, and it's all praise to the Most High. It's about your salvation. This is what your Father do when he's getting ready to box. It's going down, and the Father's not playing. So what they did is they had their clothes on and their staff. And these times, the staff will probably be your gun, a knife, whatever you have. They were sitting there eating with their staff or their gun or their knife in their hand, okay, eating in haste. And the Lord said, eat this thing, fill up, because you might have to get on the run. All right? So they had their shoes on. You eating, this is a serious holiday, holy day. You eating with your clothes on, with your staff in hand, and you eating in haste, eating it quick. All right? You getting down. This ain't no relaxed situation. You eating it, and make sure, I'm finna get into it too, make sure when you eating that lamb, it represents Christ's body. You don't break the bone and get all into it and you tearing it up like you eating neck bone. No, you just eat this lamb, you eat the meat off of it, and you set it down. All right? That represents Christ's body. And remember, Christ's body, his bones didn't get broken, but we're going to get back to that. All right? So let's keep on reading. Matter of fact, let's get right on into it. Let's go to John Let's go to John chapter 19 and verse 36, just to expound on that. I'm not breaking up Christ's bone, because I don't want to go past it and then just leave you wondering, like, okay, wait a minute. So let's go to that. John chapter 19, verse 36. All right, let's get it. This is what it is. For these things were done that the scriptures should be fulfilled. A bone of him shall not be broken. Remember? So that meat, that lamb represents Christ's body. Don't break the bone. All right? Matter of fact, let's get a precept on it. Let's go to Psalms chapter 34, verse 20. Let's get a precept. Psalms chapter 34, verse 20. Because precept must be upon precept, right? All right, here we go. Hold on. Let's do 19. Let's just do 19. Many are the affliction of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all. He keepeth all his bones. Not one of them is broken. You see that? That's King David even precepting of John. All right? He knew that Christ, none of his bones was broken. All right? So let's go back. All right? Let's go back to Exodus chapter 12, verse 11. And we're gonna finish off. Start at 12. So let's go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 12. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Let me stop right there. So that's what the blood over the doorpost was to represent, so the angel would see that and say, okay, that's a follower of the Lord, that's a follower of the Father, that's a follower, and I'm finna go, and anybody that ain't got this blood over their door, it's death for you, all right? But now, don't let that hurt you. Some places you cannot be doing that. You can't put that over your door and people looking at your neighbor, looking at you saying, that's a code violation and we finna call in on you. No. What represents the blood on the door now is us keeping the Passover, us cooking the lamb and the bitter herbs and the things like that, all right? So now that's why all praise to the Father, because we're in our captivity. So now we're practicing the righteous acts. Remember that, practicing the righteous acts, all right? Watch this. And verse 13, and the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. So the Lord was pissed at this point. And our Father is very scary. And yes, when he got the throwing down, let me tell you how cold and how thorough God is with his ass whoopings. I'm going to say it just like that. When he came in, he killed the Pharaoh, he killed the Pharaoh's firstborn, right? And anybody that was with the Pharaoh. That means his soldier, his men, everybody that has something to do with the Pharaoh in our enslavement, he killed their firstborns. Now, let me tell you how thorough he gets. He said, nigga, I'm killing your firstborn and I'm killing your damn animals too. Fuck your dogs, your cats, rats, roaches, whatever. The Lord killed the firstborn of even his flock. That's how cold your Father is. He killed the firstborn of even the cattle. Our Father's not to play. Put some respect on my Father's name. All right? So we're going to keep going. All right? And this day, verse 14, and this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. We should have been doing this, y'all. All right? Throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. Now it's finna break it down a little bit, right? It's finna get into details for you. All right, verse 15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your households. All right, so I'm going to stop right there. So what the Lord is saying is, get prepared now. As you watch this video after Sabbath, okay, after Sabbath, which will probably be Saturday night, but I still sometimes, most of the time I go into the Sunday. All right, so Sunday. Start clearing out your houses now. Getting the bread, anything of leavening agents, yeast. If you go to my YouTube channel on my community page, I got a list that show the leavenings that's in your food products. Get all of that out your house. You can get it again, especially if you're doing it for the Lord. The Lord provides for his kids. You'll get that stuff again. All right? And I got a person already hitting me up again still on this Passover as we're speaking right now. And this is why the Lord stopped that last lesson, because he wanted this to get out. All praises to the Father. So this is the thing. You get all of that out of your house. And I'm finna read a little more, and then I'm gonna expound on it, right? All right. Because this is how deep it's gonna get, right? Verse 15. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. You see how serious that is? That's why we remove all the leaven out of our houses. My house right now, anything that got leavening agent in it, yeast, baking soda, so on and so forth, that thing is up out of my house, because this is also it's a spiritual symbolic, and it's about cleansing your house of leavening. All right, this is a spiritual of High Holy Day, because we have to purge out leavening. Leavening is spiritual wickedness also, and that's what it's representing. Getting all that leavening and wickedness out of our house, and also purging our spirits. Your body don't need to take in that much leavening either, yeast and all that stuff. You're also purging and cleansing your soul and your body. This is how the Lord kept his children healthy. Because once again, like I said before, you are the Ferraris of the earth. And you need special gas to go in your body. All right? You need premium. And this is like doing your diagnostic check right here. This is your diagnostic check when you're doing the Passover. You're cleansing your body from all the leavenings that we take in through the year. All right? All praises to the Most High for that, man. He cares for his children. If we follow, we become healthy as well. All right? Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So now, the first day is like the Sabbath. When you do this Passover, it's going to be like the Sabbath day. You're not going to work on that day. If you can right now start working on calling off, get that day off. We used to do that for the wicked ass Christmas. We used to do it for wicked ass Easter. The Lord said, have that same drive for me. Now call it in. Hey, I can't come to work on that day. I can come to work on that first day, and if you can, Lord will, the last day. Because the first and the seventh day is the two most important days, because you gathered up with the people with you, whether it's your family that's following this truth, all right? If they're not unleavened in their households and all that stuff, then just do it with yourself and whoever that's among you. Do that Passover there, because you can't invite somebody, come on over and have this Passover. The Lord said no. He said people that's following me, not your wicked ass auntie and your dusty drunk ass uncle. No, he can't come and eat some of the Passover and then go home and finish fornicating and do. No, this is serious. That's why this is for Israelites, all right? Who's following the Father. Because these 7 days, you got to still have leavening out of your house. Don't go after Passover and run to the store and buy your damn loaf of bread and all this stuff and you start putting it back in your house immediately. No, for 7 days. And let me make it specific, because people say, do we have to eat lamb the whole 7 days? No, the first day is the most important because it represents Christ's body. All right? So we do that. And the day after that, you can get back to eating your regular stuff. Remember, the Lord said we can't even have this for leftovers. Whatever you got left over, put it in the fire. Give it up to the Father. All right? Or throw it in the trash can. You know, whichever one that's available. But you can't keep that. You can't keep that. It represents Christ's body. Christ is gone now. All right? So that's what it represents. You can't be having Christ after he resurrected, he hung around. And no. This represents his body. Get rid of it after you're done eating. All right? And don't break the bones. Just throw it in the trash can or put it back in the fire. Let it burn up. No leftovers. All right? And also, through the week, you can eat your regular stuff without leaven. And make sure whatever you're eating, if it's just chicken, is it turkey after that, you know, you're just eating stuff through the week, Just eat you a piece of unleavened bread too, just to remember, man, and meditate on it while you're eating. Man, my forefathers did this. My foremothers, they went through hell, man. They ran up out of Egypt in haste. And the unleavened bread represents they didn't leave and say, let me go to the grocery store. No, they had to just get up out of there and jet. So the unleavened bread represents that how they was unprepared. They didn't have eggs and all that stuff to take with them. When they was out there in the, doing the Passover, they just had to work with what they had. And you know us, as black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we'll make something out of nothing. They took that unleavened and stuff and they put it together, oil, water, salt, and made it happen. And they didn't have enough to let the leavened bread fluff up and make cakes and stuff, so they had to eat flatbread that night. So all of this is symbolic, right? So I'm gonna get more into it, okay? I don't want to ramble too much. I just want to crash course this, which is it's gonna take time, but whatever time it takes, the Lord wants this thing to get out, and it's gonna get out. All praise to the Father. Verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the selfsame day I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. You see what he called us also? The armies up out of the land of Egypt. We was made to be warriors, y'all. All right? There's not all that stuff the Christian church told you. We just turn the cheek, let niggas slap the hell out of you. That wasn't what that was meaning. All right? We were mighty men, and we're becoming mighty men again through the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? Let's read on. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. All right? See, now let's read down. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even. See that? What I was just saying, on the 20th, when it becomes even. Even was the beginning of the next day, not midnight. If you see how they play on them words, it's called midnight. We call 12 o'clock midnight the next day. When we just said the truth right in our face, it's midnight. Even means it's even. That means this beginning of the next day is starting. And we're in the mid of the night. Okay, that's at 12. Even is the beginning of the next day to the Lord. And you're going to tell the Lord that he don't know his days that he created? You are kind of crazy if you believe that. What white man tells you versus what the Lord tells you. All right, make it plain. All right. Ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 1 and the 20th day of the month at even. You see that? So through the week, just eat you some unleavened bread, man. Like when I get ready for the Passover, I make a whole bunch of leavened breads, and I put them in a container. And through the week, as I'm eating my other normal stuff, and my normal stuff, I really don't have too much leavening in my diet anyway. So while if I'm eating turkey or chicken, I just have me a piece of unleavened bread with it. Just to think about my forefathers, man, and my foremothers. And say, damn, they did that, yo. All praise to the Father that they did that. And they got us up out of there. And that's why we're here today, to watch things like this. And we're going to see this again, y'all. All praise to the Father. All right, so where did I get off at? Okay. Verse 19. I'm gonna keep reading it on down, people. All right. Verse 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. You see how the Lord gets into details? Moses had this thing in detail for the Lord, man. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, now here go the seriousness, pay attention. Even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. The Lord said, if you eat some leavening, or you have leavening in your house around this high holy day, this is a high holy day. This is a high holy feast. If you got leavening in your house, and the angel go past and see that you got leavening in your quarters, you're cut off from the kingdom. This is serious. And I love this one, because this is how much you showed how much your allegiance to the Lord is. We could go and do all of this stuff in these holidays that we were celebrating, and doing all these sacrifice, gift giving, and Easter. It had us thinking in Easter we dressed like a bunch of damn colorful eggs. Got men out here in pink and turquoise suits. We doing all that, going to the extent, but we can't do this one for the Lord our God. we have to remember and we have to examine ourselves and see who are we really serving. If we was willing to go all out and do this, people were spending their whole rent checks and stuff like that on Christmas and stuff, and taking chances of being evicted to celebrate some of these holidays, man. And when it come to doing something like this, we think this is overwhelming. What? Clean out the house? Clean my body up? Get myself right with the Lord and clean my spirit up? We think that's crazy because that's how much wickedness you have inside you. He's not asking you to spend nothing. He's telling you to cook this lamb, eat this bread and this bitter herb, and drink this wine in remembrance of the Lord, or you're gonna be cut off. He ain't telling you to go spend your whole check and get possibly kicked out of your damn house. Because the Lord ain't greedy. The Lord is rich. He already got money. He creates the riches. All right? So let's keep going. Verse 20, ye shall eat nothing leavened in all of your habitations. Shall ye eat unleavened bread. All right? Now, we finna get to some more of this, right? Let's go up. Let's skip down to verse 25. All right? And we're going to read it down. And we're almost out of this. All right? We almost done. All right? Let's read verse 20. Where I want to go. Okay, let's go to verse 26. All right? Let's go. Let's scroll down to verse 26. And it shall come to pass when your children say unto you, what mean ye by this service? So now, if your kids asking when you change this up, they're going to ask questions like, what's Passover, right? Dad, what's Passover? Mama, what's Passover? And the Lord tells you how to explain it to your kids, right? So this is how you explain it to your kids. All right? Verse 27. That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed the head in worship, and the children of Israel went away, and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. So now I'm finna break that on down. So basically, this is how he's telling you to explain it to your kids. Tell your kids, look here, our forefathers and your foremothers, the God of heaven and earth, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, got into a fight with the Egyptian pharaohs, okay? And he slayed them for us, for you. That's what you tell your kids, for us, for you. And he got all of our forefathers out of Egypt because they was slaving in bondage there. And the Lord, with a stretched forth mighty arm, got us out of there. And he slayed the Egyptian pharaohs firstborn in their cattle and made them desolate land. Made them a desolate land, man. He slayed and fought, and he won because our Father wins. All right, our Father don't know nothing about no losing. And you tell your kids that. And we supposed to keep this in remembrance of our forefathers and your foremothers, of the things and the sacrifices they made and had to go through trying to get up out of that captivity. And the Lord is going to come back. This was all a preview of what's going to happen again. Because Solomon said what you see then is for learning, for our foretime of learning to know what's going to happen again. This is what's getting ready to happen. The dollar is dropped. They just haven't told you. The dollar is dropped and there's no use for it. And because the Lord is stripping away Egypt again. All right? The Lord is stripping away Egypt again. And we're going to come out again triumph. Guess what? And that's why now we're the forefathers and foremothers now. And we finna go through the same thing the Lord said it. And you watch my other lessons where the Lord said, I'm going to take you out there into the wilderness and plead with you. And talk with you face to face like I did with your forefathers and give us the same ultimatum that he gave our forefathers. Keep my commandments or die. There's no, or you just going to just do you, boo-boo, and do what you want to do. No, no. When the Lord say plead, it's different from our pleading. Pleading means to us, oh, please love me. Be my children again. Take me back. And no, the Lord's plea means death. Die, nigga. Die. You want to keep my commandments? Okay, slay him. Death. All right? So it's they took words out of the Bible and made it their own, but that's not what it is. All right? All praises to the Father. So we gonna wrap this on up, man. So I want to explain. So the lamb represents what? Let's do a recap. The lamb represents what? Christ's body, who was a sacrifice. That's why we called him the sacrificial lamb, right? Because now we wasn't doing sacrifice no more after this. We would sacrifice bulls and goats when we was, or doves when we sinned. But Christ had to come because them sins wasn't working no more with the Lord. Them sacrifices the Lord. So the Lord had to come down here, a mighty man, a black man, and had to say, you know what, y'all messing up so much. I got to come off the throne from next to the Father and come down here and sacrifice myself because y'all are so wicked. So he became the sacrifice, right? And what do the bitter herbs represent? Now, bitter herbs, you can get you some kale. Now, Google that and look up bitter herbs. It's going to let you know in Google or whatever. But the bitter herbs represents the hard bondage that we served in Egypt. All right, the bitter herb, this is a symbolic dinner. And it's beautiful. I love the way each one represents something. Okay, the bitter herbs represents the hard bondage that we served in Egypt. And we're serving right now in spiritual Egypt, right? Now, what do the unleavened bread represents? It represents how we was in haste and we didn't have the things, we were unprepared. We didn't have all the necessities that we had to make cakes and breads and pies. So we had to use what we had, which still represents the bitterness. Okay? What does the wine represent? The red wine represents Christ's blood that he shed for our ignorance, not his. He shed for our ignorance. Christ had to come and shed blood for us, man. All right? And the representative, you remember, Christ celebrated Passover before he left us, before the Hamashiach left us. So we're going to close out with that dinner that he said. He was sitting at the Passover, and this is what Christ said. We're going to close out with this one. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23. All right? And we're going to read this down. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23. And we're going to read this down. And this is what the Lord said, right? This is what the Lord said, and this is a serious thing, y'all. So remember, the first, you celebrate the Passover, you cook the lamb, you get the bitter herbs, all right? And you get the wine, you got the bread, you do that, and you done. You can't get that to your neighbors next door and stuff. You're going to see that in the chapter. If you go back and read this and stuff, you're going to see it's going to tell you in detail. Neighbor don't mean the person next door, damn Edomite or something. You trying to go get the holy Passover to him. No. It's people that's celebrating only the Passover with you and not the Jewish. There's somebody out there still believing that them nasty folks over in Israel, them white folks, is the Jewish. No, them the Khazars. All right? And you congregating with the people that's celebrating this Passover. That means if somebody coming over celebrating it with you, their house better not have no leavening in it after they eat that food. All right? Now, through the 7 days, the rest of the week, you don't have to keep eating lamb every day. That was the first day. Through the rest of the week, you're eating your regular, chicken, beef, or whatever you eating, but eat your little unleavened bread on the side just to remember, because through that week you're remembering. All right? Now the last day, you congregating again with them same people, all right, that you did the Passover with, and you celebrating the Lord. All right? And you don't have to cook you don't have to cook the lamb all over again and do that again. No, but you're congregating with your people and you praising the Most High God. All right? So now we're gonna read. All right, we're gonna read this 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23. And we're gonna close out with what our King said, man, before he left us. For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, This is the cup of the this cup is the New Testament in my body. This do ye, as oft as ye drink it, in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. So I want to give praises and honor and glory to our King, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. All right? Y'all celebrate this Passover because we're getting out of here. Y'all seeing the stuff ramping up. This stuff is almost over. Our Father is back. And with that being said, Israel, I love y'all. Shalom.